So students, in this video I am going to explain about COVID-19 coronavirus, and this video is only for the educational purpose, where I am going to explain about the structure of the COVID-19, and not only this, I am going to explain about the pathophysiology. In simple words to say, the mechanism which is mainly present behind this COVID-19, I mean how the virus will attack to the human being and how human being will get infected by this coronavirus. Each and everything will be clearly explained in this video, so watch this video till the end. And again I am repeating that this video is only for the educational purpose. Okay, so now basically you know what, if you see under the presence of microscope, then you can see the 3D structure of the coronavirus. But here I have drawn the structure of the coronavirus, right? So you can understand the difference between the structure, normal structure of the coronavirus, and the 3D design of that coronavirus. Okay, so basically firstly I'm going to explain about the introduction of this COVID-19, and then let us enter into its structure and its pathophysiology. Okay, so basically this COVID-19 occurs in humans as well as animals, and it is called as common cold virus. So we will call it as a COVID-19 coronavirus. No, because COVID-19 is just a disease. Like it is called as coronavirus infectious disease 2019 because it became pandemic in the year of 2019 worldwide. Hence it is named as COVID-19, coronavirus infectious disease. This is name of the disease, that's it. But the virus which causes this COVID-19 is called SARS-CoV-2, which means severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. So this is a virus which will infect human being and cause disease called as COVID-19. So COVID-19 is not a virus, it is a disease which is mainly caused by a virus called as SARS-CoV-2, right? So not only now, in the year of 2003 there are two other viruses which are similar to COVID-19, I mean this SARS-CoV-2. They are SARS and MERS. SARS in the sense severe acute respiratory syndrome, and MERS in the sense Middle East respiratory syndrome. So these are the two diseases which are mainly caused by the coronavirus in the year of 2003, right? So this is what the just introduction which I wanted to give you regarding this COVID-19. And now let us discuss about the structure of the COVID-19 by looking at this diagram. Okay, so basically this you know, this virus, the body of this virus is completely covered by a proteins. Not only one protein, there are you know, 4 proteins which will be covered by you know what, on the surface of this viral body, right? So what are those proteins actually? So among those, spike protein is the one. So this blue color one which I have drawn is called as spike protein, and this red color one, this and here which are present, is called as envelope protein, and this green color one are called as membrane proteins. And this here, as if you see, this is a genetic material of this virus. Okay, so in this whole virus, this genetic material plays a major and vital role in the mechanism, I mean in the pathophysiology, which I am going to explain you later. Okay, so because of this you know, single stranded RNA, once it enter into your body, then this only will cause a disease in human beings and also in the animals. Okay, so this genetic material will be covered by a small layer, I mean small protein layer. It is called as nucleocapsid protein. Okay, and now the outermost layer of the viral body is called as viral envelope, and the second most layer, which is mainly present below the viral envelope, is called as capsid. So I am going to explain all of these parts in detail, so listen properly. And among this, spike protein is one of the most important protein. So why it is most important, I am going to explain you now. So basically all of these proteins are called as glycoproteins. Okay, spike glycoprotein, envelope glycoprotein, and membrane glycoprotein, nucleocapsid glycoprotein. Okay, so I am going to explain each of this glycoprotein in detail. So that's what I have mentioned here. So there are totally 4 glycoproteins which are mainly present on the surface of this viral body. They are S protein, E protein, M protein, and N protein. S indicates spike protein, E in the sense envelope protein, M in the sense membrane protein, and N in the sense nucleocapsid protein. So firstly let us discuss about spike protein. So basically this spike protein is called as receptor binding domain. So why it is called as receptor binding protein, receptor binding domain? Because I'm going to explain it later after explaining the structure of the spike protein. So basically the spike protein consists of two regions, two subunits, which is called as in the form of region, like S1 subunit and S2 subunit. So till here this is called as S1 subunit, and the remaining region is called as S2 subunit. And this S1 subunit will get attached to the cell receptor, and this S2 subunit is attached to the viral body itself. So what do you mean by this? And what is the cell receptor, and where does the cell receptors are present? The cell receptors are present in the human bodies, in the host bodies. How? Let us see. So basically our human body consists of angiotensin converting enzyme receptor 2. And where does this receptor is present? These receptors are present in lungs, heart, small intestine and large intestine, and kidneys. So once this viral particle will enter into the human body or else into the host organism, then this spike protein plays a major role, which I have said you previously. So now this spike protein, this S1 subunit will get binded over to these receptors. This angiotensin converting enzyme receptor, which are mainly present in the lungs, heart, small intestine, large intestine, and kidneys. So once this virus, the coronavirus, that particular viral particle will enter into the lungs, then what will happen? Then this spike protein, which is mainly present on that viral particle, will recognize this angiotensin converting enzyme receptor and will get binded over to it. So now where does this angiotensin converting enzyme receptor 2 will get binded? It will get binded on this S1 subunit. Okay, so in such a way that, so as if you see in the diagram, this is a spike protein, right? So once this viral particle, this whole viral particle will enter into the host organism like human being, then once it entered into the lungs, then that receptor, which I have said you, right, angiotensin, right, that receptor will get binded onto this spike protein over here on the S1 subunit, right? It will recognize that receptor which is mainly present in the lungs because this entered into the lungs, right? So hence this spike protein is called as receptor binding protein because it will bind the receptors which are mainly present in the lungs, heart, small intestine, large intestine, and also in the kidneys. So that's the reason we always say that spike proteins are highly important for this COVID-19, this virus. Okay, so next coming to the M protein, which is called as membrane protein. So this membrane protein, it acts like a central organizer for the coronavirus because they can interact with other structural proteins. And not only that, this M protein, the membrane protein will also define the shape of the viral envelope. It will maintain the shape, the structure of the viral envelope. Okay, so envelope protein, which is nothing but the E protein. So this E protein is nothing but it is very small protein. Okay, these are very small protein which are mainly present on the surface of this viral body. And the main function of these E proteins are actually they are integral membrane proteins because it involves various stages of the coronavirus life cycle like assembly, budding, envelope, formation, and pathogenesis. The mechanism which will be involved in the life cycle of the coronavirus, right? And not only that, even in the endoplasmic reticulum and the Golgi apparatus, this plays a major role in the viral replication, right? Which protein? Envelope protein. And coming to the next one, viral envelope. So I have said you, right, viral envelope is nothing but the outermost layer. So this outermost layer of this viral body is made up of phospholipids. So this is very important to remember, students. Here I am going to explain your logic. See, this is the outermost layer. As if you see in the diagram, so this outermost layer of this viral body is called as viral envelope. So this viral envelope is made up of phospholipids. Phospholipids in the sense, and that layer is called as it is made up of phospholipids, that particular outermost layer of viral envelope is called as lipid bilayer, or else it is also called as fatty layer, right? So here, now once if you are using sanitizers and soaps, then what will happen? Then soap molecules will get attacked to these phospholipids in such a way that these phospholipids will get broken down in such a way that the outermost layer will be damaged. That's the reason in the news channels and the general thing which we know is that use sanitizers and wash your hands properly with the soaps, and that process is called as saponification, right? So once if you wash your hands with soap, then what will happen? That soap molecules will attack this fatty layer or the phospholipid bilayer. Then what will happen? Then the outermost layer will get destroyed. That's the reason government published a certain type of notes like to wash your hands properly and sanitize your hands properly, such that this outermost layer will be destroyed in such a way that viral particle, there are somehow chances to destroy this viral particle. Okay, so this is about the viral envelope. And now let us discuss about capsid. So this capsid is nothing but which is mainly present below the layer of viral envelope. I mean, it is the second layer which I have said you. And this is nothing, this capsid is nothing but like a protein shell of virus, which is mainly made up of protomers. Okay, so this this protein shell of virus is made up of several subunits called as protomers. Okay, so now coming to this nucleocapsid protein, which is called as N protein. So I have said you right, this N protein will cover the genetic material of the virus. The genetic material of the virus is nothing but the single strand RNA. Okay, remember this is highly important. The genetic material which is mainly present in this COVID-19 virus, I mean the coronavirus, is single stranded RNA. Okay, so this is a single stranded RNA, and this single stranded RNA is covered by nucleocapsid protein. Okay, so that's what mentioned here. It is it is also called as nuclear capsid, where it is bonded to single stranded RNA, which is mainly acts as a genetic material of that virus. Okay, and it will package the viral genome into long, flexible and helical virus. Okay, so this is very important to remember about this nucleocapsid protein. So till now what we have discussed is just about the structure of the coronavirus, and now I am going to explain about pathogenesis of the coronavirus. Okay, so listen properly. From here the actual story starts, because how you need to know how the mechanism is present behind the attack of the coronavirus. Okay, so now see, if basically how this coronavirus will pass from one human being to another human being, this is a general knowledge. Like if one person sneezes, if one person is affected with coronavirus, then if he sneezes out, then that viral particles will enter into the air, into the atmosphere, and the life period of that coronavirus once it enter into the atmosphere is 3 hours. Till 3 hours that coronavirus will be present in that in that atmosphere. So now another fresh person who will inhale that atmosphere, then what will happen? Then that coronavirus will enter into the lungs of the fresh patient, I mean the fresh individual patient, right? So now let us consider this as a viral particle which entered into the fresh human being, right? So these are the lungs of the fresh human being. Let's consider it, and the viral particle entered into the alveoli of that lungs. So let us zoom this region, the alveolar region, and then understand what is present over here. So this alveolar is nothing but which plays a major role in gaseous exchange process, right? Gas exchange process. So now this alveoli consists of type 1 pneumocytes. This blue color on which I have drawn are the type 1 pneumocytes, and it also consists of type 2 pneumocytes with the green color which I have drawn over here. Okay, and so basically this will be the structure of the alveoli, and this viral particle which entered into the alveoli will destroy type 2 pneumocytes, type 2 pneumocytes, but not type 1 pneumocytes. It will destroy type 2 pneumocytes. So how it will destroy? Let us see in detail now. Okay, so now I am going to explain the zoom part of this type 2 pneumocytes. So now let us consider this as a type 2 pneumocyte which is mainly present in the alveoli. Okay, so this is the type 2 pneumocyte which is mainly present in the alveoli. So now once the viral particle will enter into the external environment, into the lungs, and reaches to the type 2 pneumocytes which are mainly present in the alveoli of the lungs, then what will happen? So as I have said you previously, this spike protein, I mean the S1 subunit of this spike protein will get binded to the receptors, right, which are mainly present in the lungs, heart, small intestine, large intestine and kidneys. So that process will happen now. So listen properly. So this is a viral particle which consists of spike proteins. All of these are nothing but the spike proteins, and these are the receptors, right? These are the receptors which are mainly present in the alveoli of the lungs, which I have said you. I mean this part is nothing but the type 2 pneumocytes which are mainly present in the alveoli of the lungs, right? So indirectly we can say that these receptors are mainly present in the lungs. So now this spike protein will get binded over to these receptors, right? It will get binded over to these receptors. So what are these receptors? I already have said you, right? Angiotensin converting enzyme receptor 2. So So now this spike protein will get combined, I mean it will get binded over to this angiotensin converting enzyme 2, and now actual process begins. So listen properly. Okay, so now once this spike protein will get binded over to this ACE2 receptor, now this viral genome, this single stranded RNA will enter into the cytoplasm of this type 2 pneumocyte. Okay, so this brown color one is nothing but the viral genome. So what is a viral genome? Single stranded RNA, right? So that single stranded RNA will enter into the cytoplasm of the type 2 pneumocyte. So now what will happen? So this is a single stranded RNA of virus, that coronavirus. Now this is a ribosome. Okay, so now this will attack the ribosome and will initiate the ribosome to release polyproteins, right? It will initiate polyproteins, releasing of the polyproteins. And now not only this viral genome, I mean this single stranded RNA will get reacted with an enzyme called as RDRP. So what is this enzyme? RNA dependent RNA polymerase enzyme. So once it get reacted with this RDRP enzyme, then it will get replicated and forms many individuals of the single stranded RNA. So this newly formed single stranded RNA are belong to that coronavirus only. Okay, so that is what you people have to remember mostly. And now what will happen? So these polyproteins and this newly replicated single stranded RNA particles will get combined with each other and form new product, and that new product is nothing but the again coronavirus only, I mean this COVID-19 virus itself. Okay, so because these are the polyproteins, so polyproteins will together constitute the body, formation of the body, and here are the newly replicated single stranded RNA. So these will enter into those bodies and finally form the new viral bodies, right? So in this way the number of that viral bodies will get increased, right? If you are not treated properly in the hospitals, then what will happen is that the the process will get continued in such a way that the formation of new viral bodies occur continuously, right? So now these new viral bodies which are mainly formed will act as antigen for the macrophages, right? So these are the this is a macrophage, and now these new viral bodies will act as antigen and will move towards the macrophages, will get attacked to these macrophages, and now this macrophage will start releasing certain type of cytokines which are very harmful, and among them the interleukin 1, interleukin 6 and TNF, which means tumor necrosis factor. So these will be released from these macrophages once these new viral bodies will get attacked on this macrophage, right? So remember interleukin 1 and interleukin 6 and tumor necrosis factor. So these are the cytokines which will be released by this macrophage, right? So this interleukin 1, interleukin 6 and this TNF, what they will do is that basically they will move towards the capillaries which are mainly present in the alveoli and destroy these capillaries. And once that capillaries will get destroyed, then it will increase the capillary permeability. So now if you see here properly in this diagram, so here this is the alveoli, how it looks in a normal person who is not infected with coronavirus. But if you see here alveoli, the structure of this alveoli is completely changed because there will be accumulation of the fluid. There will be accumulation of fluid because the capillaries in this alveoli is completely destroyed, right? So the accumulation of fluid will be done. So due to this accumulation of fluid, what will happen? Let us see now. So as if you see here, the type 2 pneumocytes are completely damaged. That's what we have discussed till now, right, in the beginning. So as if you see here, these the viral particles are completely replicated, and the number of these viral bodies are also gradually increased. So this type 2 pneumocytes will be completely damaged, right? So what will happen once this type 2 pneumocytes will be completely damaged? Then there will be less production of this surfactant. So once there is less production of the surfactant, then what will happen? There will be increase in the surface tension. Remember, the alveoli should definitely have the less surface tension in order to maintain the alveoli and the gas exchange properly. Once if there is increase in the surface tension, then what will happen? Then the alveoli will get collapsed. That's what the shape of the alveoli has completely changed. So surface tension should be maintained properly, but here there is increase in the surface tension. That's the reason the alveoli is completely collapsed, as if you see in the diagram. So once if the alveoli will get collapsed, then there will be no proper gas exchange. There will be decrease in the gas exchange and leads to a disease called as hypoxemia. This is very, very important to remember. It causes a disease called as hypoxemia. So hypoxemia is a disease which is nothing but it decreases the partial pressure of the oxygen in the blood, right? And that particular disease is called as hypoxemia. And now what will happen? As I have said you, interleukin 1 and interleukin 6 and TNF, all of these three are released by the macrophage, which I have said you, right? So among those cytokines, interleukin 1 and interleukin 6 plays a major and vital role, where these interleukins will get entered into the hypothalamus, which is mainly present in the brain, and starts initiating the releasing of prostaglandin. It releases prostaglandin, and this prostaglandin will increase the body temperature. So as the body temperature gets increased, then it leads to fever, right? It leads to fever. So as I have said you, it causes a disease called as hypoxemia, right? So what does this hypoxemia do? I mean, I already said you, when hypoxemia is a disease where the partial pressure of the oxygen will be gradually decreased. So as the partial pressure of the oxygen will be decreased, then it increases the heart rate and also increases the respiratory rate, which means that we feel very difficult in breathing. So that is one of the symptoms. So we have seen many symptoms over here, like it causes damage in the capillaries of the alveoli, which causes very difficult in breathing, and it also increases the heart rate, and it also causes the fever, right? So in this way, the person will get completely damaged. I mean, he will if he is not treated properly, then definitely he will lead to death. So that's the reason the vaccine is still under the process, and not only under the process, it has been supplied completely in our India according to the age groups, and still it is undergoing the process. So this is what I have searched a lot regarding this coronavirus and how it is passed from one human being to another human being. And once this corona particle will enter into the human being, then what is the mechanism which is mainly present to attack that particular host. I mean, either it may be a human being or animal. Each and everything is clearly explained in this video. I hope this video is very useful for you, and if you like this video, subscribe to my channel and also press the bell icon for the latest updates. And if you want this all of this my material which I have shown you now, then I'm going to provide you a link in the description box. So please press that link and give me a request. I'm going to send you this document. Okay, so thank you for watching this video. Bye.